All right, it has been a busy week. There's been a lot that's been going on, um, and there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about. A lot of fun stuff. A lot of fun opinions I have. So so yeah, welcome everyone. I'm Ryan from Ryan's Fortress and Megahit Media, and welcome to episode 8 of the Megahit podcast. This is going to be a wild episode. We are talking about all kinds of things. Nintendo Direct, of course, is what the main focus is, talking very in depth about this past Nintendo Direct, and yeah, so that's gonna be what's going on today. But yeah, so we are here at episode number 8. Um, I feel like I'm gonna just this is an episode that I feel like I'm just gonna be nonstop talking about a lot of just very small things in our gaming segment, really. So, but yeah, so this is episode 8. Before we get to all the stuff we're actually talking about today, um, I have an introduction. I'll talk about some stuff. So today, actually, I'm recording this. Well, before I get into stuff, I do want to mention with the podcast itself, I did, of course, I mean, as you can probably tell if you're listening to this when it comes out, I've changed my schedule once again. So episodes are now going to be coming out on Monday from now on. It's only a 1 day difference. It's not a huge difference there. But I did decide to change it from Tuesday to Monday. I can't talk. From Tuesday to Monday because it's easier for me to record on Saturday nights. That's like the best time I have to record. Sunday doesn't always work for me, and I don't really want to record a podcast, especially one where I talk about like news and stuff. I don't really want to record it Saturday night for a Tuesday release. So I think Monday's going to work a little bit better. So yeah, so from now on, episodes will be coming out on Mondays, and I think that hopefully that's where we stick for now. Again, that's not a huge difference from the from Tuesday, of course, but it is a difference. So I will mention that. But yeah, that's more for my sake, just because I don't want to record an episode too far in advance, and it's easier for me to record episodes on Saturday. It's much harder to do it on Sundays. So and so yeah. So today I am recording this Saturday night, and today I actually had a pretty enjoyable day. I headed north to New York City today with some friends to see The Outsiders on Broadway, which was a fantastic show. I've never been to a Broadway show either, so that was a really cool show. I've been to New York so many times though, just in general. So it's fun to go back, but it's New York, you know what I mean? So yeah, but it was of course fun trip, fun day, great show, and then the restaurant we ate at was wild. So the friends I went with, they are all musical people. They all are in like choir and stuff, and all this kind of stuff at our high school, and they're in all the musicals and stuff. And I am not. I am very much not. I don't mind musicals, but I am definitely not that like into them, and I don't sing or anything like that. But the restaurant we went to was, I forgot if it was on Broadway or like right next to it, but it was literally like this. It wasn't huge. It was a pretty small place. But I guess the main concept or whatever is that they have these singing servers, is what they call them, and it's literally servers that sing Broadway songs. So I think it said like 5 to 8 every day, 5 to 8 at night. The servers would just sing just random like musical songs, movie songs. They sang a lot of Disney songs in particular. and it was just like just a server would sing, and then a few minutes later another server would sing a different song, and it was cool. It was interesting. Definitely got I don't know if I'd say got old, but it was a lot, because it was basically like one person would sing, and then there was this guy, I guess I don't know if he's the owner or something, but he would talk for like a minute, and then the next person would sing. You know what I mean? It was just a lot of that. And it was funny too, if like someone was coming over to like give us our food and stuff, like we weren't paying attention. We were paying attention to who was singing. So, yeah, it was a cool place. I forget what it was called. I think it was like Friedman's or something like that. The specific place was like, I think like Dale's Broadway Rose, something like that. It was a cool place if you like musicals and stuff. It's a pretty cool place. But yeah, The Outsiders was fantastic. I actually just read the book for the first time over the summer, and the music is great. The effects in the show are fantastic. So yeah, really cool show. Pretty fun day. And yeah, so I have decided because I really want to talk a lot about the Nintendo Direct and stuff. I've decided I'm not even going to talk about news from this week. This was a very news heavy week, of course, for many reasons. But I think in terms of like, I don't know, pop culture kind of stuff, I mean, it wasn't really a huge week other than the stuff we're talking about in our normal segments. So yeah, so we're just going to jump right into that. So what are we talking about today? So we're actually going to start with the video games segment because I think it makes more sense to talk. And I feel like it's the bigger thing. It's the thing I want to get to first. So we are going to have our video game segment first for today. And of course, I'm just going to be talking about the Nintendo Direct. I'm just going to be talking about all the announcements, my thoughts on the Direct itself, and then a bunch of just Nintendo stuff in general. So it's going to be a Nintendo Direct heavy segment, but it's also just going to be a lot of other random stuff. So that's our video game segment, and then our movie segment kind of goes off of that as well. I want to talk about the Mario movie a little bit, kind of give like a little bit of a retrospective on the first film, and then dive into my thoughts, expectations on the second one, being of course the Mario Galaxy movie, which is insane. So I definitely want to talk about that. And then sports segment, we're just talking about Phillies, and so I don't even know how much time we're gonna have for our sports segment. So yeah, I will be honest. I think we will probably get to the sports segment, but if we are running out of time, I probably will just skip it. I'm sorry to any of the sports fans out there. By the way, I'm sorry I don't really cover sports that much. I think I put sports in there because I do really like sports as well. But when it comes to the things that I feel like I can talk about sports. I know a lot about sports, and it's not like I don't really know a lot to talk about. I just think I can talk for longer when it comes to movies and games. So yeah. So just for any sports fans, I wanted to have sports in here, but I know it's not a lot. So it will depend on the episode. Definitely when we get deeper into the playoffs, we'll be talking about that. And yeah. All right. So let's just dive right in. Not even talking about news at all. We are just hopping in. Really, the only thing I had listed for news was the Apple announcements, which we had the Apple presentation, the Apple event this past week. So some cool stuff there. I actually didn't watch it though. I just saw some of the stuff that was announced. I can't believe they're making the Apple Air is what's speaking to me. That like super thin iPhone that costs $1,000. It's crazy. I don't even know how to think about that, but I kind of like for no reason want it. So yeah, there's that. By the way, when it comes to phones and stuff, I have an iPhone 13 and I've had it since I think 2022. So it's not like it's crapping out on me, but I have been thinking about possibly upgrading within the next year, maybe. I don't really know. I was thinking about, because I don't really know a lot of the details when it comes to like getting new phone switching and whatever. I was thinking about like maybe looking at different like phones in terms of like not iPhone, like maybe a Google Pixel or one of the Samsung ones. I don't have a problem with iPhone. I love iPhone, but I was thinking about maybe changing it. The only thing I'm not sure about that is how it works when it comes to data transfer. And really the thing I'm most worried about, it's really just Minecraft. Honestly, I've sunk many, many, many hours of my life into Minecraft on my phone. And I do not want to lose all that by getting a new phone, because it can transfer the SIM card data. It can transfer between iPhones. But I'm not sure if that'll work with switching from like iPhone to Google, for example. So yeah, I don't really know. I think if I find that out, like if it does, not save it, then like no chance I'm gonna, because honestly for that, like I feel like, like the problem with that is that I feel like Minecraft, I've been playing on my phone since 2019. And it's just like, I basically sunk a lot of my life into that. And a lot of my life is kind of like just that, you know what I mean? Like my creativity and stuff, I kind of poured into that as like a representation of it. So I don't really want to lose that. So yeah. But anyway, getting a little off topic, I want to talk about Nintendo stuff. All right, Nintendo Direct. Let's get into the good stuff. Perhaps. So Nintendo Direct, there were a lot of leaks. There were a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation for the past like month, basically. Everyone knew there'd be a September Direct at some point, which didn't know when, and it was announced on Wednesday that it would be happening on Friday, the 12th. Two weird things there. First of all, Directs typically have for the past, like basically the entire Switch life cycle, were announced the day before, but this week it was announced 2 days before. So I mean, a second day I guess is nice. I don't know. So that's pretty cool. And then that was a good neck crack. Sorry. So yeah, so that was a little bit surprising, but then at the same time, the Direct was on Friday, which they're typically on Wednesdays and Thursdays. I think the only exception was the September 2022 Direct, which was on a Tuesday, if I remember correctly. So yeah. Interesting stuff was happening. There were so many rumors coming out. Switch Force, I remember, had a lot of rumors or a lot of leaks and all kinds of stuff. And it just seemed like this Direct would be... It was, first of all, it was like one of the most hyped Directs in a while. At least since I got more into following Nintendo and video games and stuff. Around like 2021 is when I got into that more and started watching the Directs, started like, watching them live and stuff and whatever. This was easily the most hyped up Direct. Maybe probably not as much as April, but of just normal Directs, not like the Switch 2 Direct, definitely this was the most hyped up one. So it was, I feel like there was a lot of, things people were expecting, a lot of big announcements people expected. So here's all the announcements we got. Before I get into my actual thoughts with the Direct, I want to talk about this. So first of all, one of the big surprises for me was that the Direct actually started with Mario, which I thought it would end. But yeah, so we did have a Mario segment as myself and many others predicted. We would have a dedicated Mario segment, but although I think most of us thought it would start or it would end the Direct, but it ended up starting the presentation. So the first 15-20 minutes were all Mario. So yeah, let's talk about the stuff here. So the first, like, I don't know, couple minutes of the direct was actually kind of interesting. It showed a lot of cool, like, concept art and, like, for the older games and even some of the newer games. It kind of showed, like, the original sketches, the original artwork, and concepts. So that was pretty cool. And they announced that that a bunch of them were going to be displayed in the Nintendo Museum in Japan. And then they also mentioned something about I forget exactly. It was like a Tokyo Marathon or something. I don't know. They're kind of just advertising some stuff there, which I thought was interesting that they advertised that on a national level, because like that's not going to appeal. Like I don't care. I'm from America. I don't care. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then they just dive right into some big announcements on a ton of other fronts. So the first one is the announcement and the first look at the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Now the title was, of course, leaked the night before. It was leaked on, I think it was Thursday. It was either Thursday night or Friday morning. It might have been Friday morning. I don't remember, but at least at one point within I don't know, past 24 hours before the direct, it was leaked that the Mario movie 2 would be the Mario Galaxy movie. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't entirely believe this at first, especially because a lot of people were saying that the film was going to be called just Super Mario World, which I was like, there's no way that's true. But yeah, the Mario movie was in fact shown, and it is in fact going to be called the Mario Galaxy movie. I just think that something about that name is just like wild to me, that they are specifically naming the movie off Super Mario Galaxy. I think that's crazy. So yeah, it was pretty cool. The movie, first of all, looks amazing when it comes to visual wise. It looks outstanding. The animation is beautiful. It's incredibly crisp. There's so many little details you can look for in there. So much cool stuff. Even the music is outstanding. There's like 2 tracks it plays. The one that it plays just throughout most of that trailer, like at the beginning, to the title card, I think that's new. It sounded new, or at least sounded like a newer version of one of the main tracks in the first movie. But it sounds amazing. The cinematic, like, new remixed version of Mario tracks, it's just amazing. And then, of course, the Mario Galaxy, I think it was the theme to Mario Galaxy remix in there. So another really amazing trailer, first of all. So another amazing track there. But yeah, the music in this movie is going to be insane. It's the same guy who did the music in the first movie. And of course, the first movie had such a fantastic soundtrack when it came to its score specifically. It had such a great score. I don't know how I'm gonna feel if they do put more like actual songs into this one with just the whole Mario Galaxy thing. I don't know how to feel, but I don't know. We'll see. So we'll talk more about the Mario Galaxy movie, of course, when we get to our movie segment. But yeah, Mario Galaxy movie is happening. It's coming out in April, and it's just wild. So first of all, did I expect to see this movie in the direct? So my prediction was that we would get an announcement that when the first trailer would be. If you remember in 2021 when they first mentioned the movie in that direct, well, when they first announced or discussed the movie in a direct, the September 2021 direct, where they announced the release date being at the time was the following holiday season, and then of course they gave us the amazing, historical, legendary voice cast. So that was turned out to be about a year and a half before the movie came out, and then the next year, I think. I think they mentioned the direct in the September 2022 one. They just acknowledged it. And then, like, I think a few days later, really, or maybe I think it was a few days later, they announced that the first trailer would be shown at New York Comic Con in October. I was expecting something like the latter there. I was expecting something like that here. I did not expect for them to show it. But I think this, although it kind of makes sense to me, because this wasn't really a trailer, it was more just a very, very small tease. Like, we really didn't see anything new here. You know what I mean? Like, sure, we saw like a Monty Mole, but that's it. You know what I mean? Like, we just got that little tease. And then, of course, it went to Peach's castle and then went up into the sky, and then it showed the title card and the main logo. So, yeah. So we didn't really... It's sort of a trailer, but I think it's more of just a teaser. That's kind of what they said, like an announcement teaser trailer kind of thing. So it's not really the first trailer, so I could see us getting the first trailer in a little bit, like another month or two. But... oh my God, I don't know what just happened there. But I honestly, I did not expect to see it at all. But I do think if we were going to see it, if I told myself, like, if you do see it, if I was thinking, if we do see like, what form would it come in, I'd probably think it would come in something like this. Not a full trailer, not even a full teaser trailer, not even to the extent of the first teaser for the last movie, just something for just a few seconds, and then the movie itself. So yeah, that's that. Honestly, I don't really want to watch any trailers for this thing. I might watch the first teaser once, like when it goes live, and then I'll just never watch it again. I don't really know. I've done that with a couple movies where I didn't watch any trailers for it. I remember I did it with Spider-Man No Way Home, and I'm so thankful I did it with that movie because there were so many big surprises for me there. I just think trailers today, they just show a lot, and especially for like the Mario movie, I remember, because there were 3 trailers for that, and a lot of the basically all 3 trailers showed like long clips. You know what I mean? Mainly the first and third ones. I mean, the first one showed like the whole opening clip, and then when Mario arrived in the Mushroom Kingdom. And then the third one basically showed like the whole, like the majority of the Mario Kart segment. So it just seemed like once we got to the movie, especially since it was only like 90 minutes, it did feel like there wasn't a lot of new stuff. You know what I mean? It didn't feel super new to me. And I do want that to be the case. I don't want that to be the case with this one. I don't want to watch anything. I might watch the first trailer once and then not watch anything else until the movie comes out. So yeah, I need to do more movies. I really do. But yeah, so this one really didn't show too much, but we did see something, and I'm excited to learn more. So, but again, we will talk about more in depth about this later in the episode. All right, so moving on from the Mario Galaxy movie, that huge announcement there. By the way, also with the movie, they did not reveal. I was kind of surprised at this. They showed off the voice cast again for the movie. They basically said a bunch of them would be returning. They left out a couple. They did leave out DK, so I don't know if that means he won't be in it or they just didn't mention his name. However, I was really expecting they would at least give us like Rosalina's voice actress, but no. So we are gonna have to wait for that. Yeah. So then there is so that was that. They also did mention with that Chris Meledandri did mention that while it is Mario Galaxy, there will of course be other Mario elements here, like from other games. So I don't really know to what extent that means, but it's probably just saying like, even if you don't, you know, it's not just Mario Galaxy. You know what I mean? Like, even though we're calling it that, it's not like entirely Mario Galaxy. There is going to be some other Mario stuff here. It is still the Mario movie too. So we'll see how that goes. It'll be interesting to see, but yeah, so we'll see. All right. So finally moving on from the Mario movie, let's get into some other stuff. So, Mario Galaxy 1 and Mario Galaxy 2 are coming on October 3rd? No, October 2nd. I think it's October 2nd. SMG1, SMG2 are both coming to the Switch. Not Switch 2. Well, to both. But not exclusively to Switch 2. They are coming on the Nintendo Switch, and of course are playable on the Switch 2. And I think I heard somewhere that Mario Galaxy 2 does have like 4K upgrades for if you're playing it on the Switch 2, which is pretty cool. But then the other thing I was hearing, some people were talking about that people were hoping that they would give a 4K upgrade to Mario 3D All Stars. Honestly, in my opinion, so the case with this game, with this collection is interesting. Mario Galaxy 1 and Mario Galaxy 2 are both dropping on the original Switch for $70. And of course, most Switch games, including remakes, are max $60. And again, this is Switch, not Switch 2. Switch 2, the norm is $70, but for Switch it is $60. And yet this collection is $70. And even though it's 2 games, Mario 3D All Stars was $60. I'm pretty sure it was, and that's 3 games, including Mario Galaxy 1, which is definitely interesting there. So that's annoying, honestly, to me. It does look like, I will say, it does look like it is not. It doesn't look like it's a port, but it doesn't look like it's. The thing that I noticed is that the text is different. The text is different in this game. It's the standard Mario text for a lot of things, like the HUD icons and stuff. It is the normal Mario font, which is an interesting change, but it is a change. So I don't really know how much new stuff there's going to be in terms of the remake content, but hopefully there is some other stuff there. But it would be nice at least if they did Mario Galaxy on 3D All Stars justice. It would be cool if there would be some upgrades for that. So here's the hoping. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. So that collection comes on October 2nd. And what is cool too is that the way this works, it is like the Pikmin 1 and 2 remakes from a couple of years ago, which is that you can buy them separately on digital. Physically, it's just the 2-game combo pack. But on the Switch 2, you can in fact get them individually. So, for example, like me, I own Mario 3D All Stars. So I already own Mario Galaxy. I can already play it on my Switch. So for me, I would just need to get Mario Galaxy 2. It's $39.99. And yeah, so I don't think I'm going to get it. It is kind of ironic, I feel like, because that was like one of the things I was like most hoping for, but it's more just the fact that it's on there, not exactly like I am hyped to play it. It's more just it's there so people can play it, because now the only way you can play it is by getting the original physical release, because the only way digitally is Wii U shops. Which I don't even know if I forgot how the Wii shop worked. But I do know Wii U did have it, but of course now those eShops have been shut down for a couple of years now. So the only way that you can play it now is just getting the physical copy of it, which is what I did a couple of years ago. I bought the physical disc for it on my Wii. And that's the version that I have. I have the original version, so it's not really a reason for me to get it on the Switch. So I don't know, we'll see. I mean, it's $40. I do, at least it is less. I think originally it would have probably retailed for $50. I think that's how much most Wii games were. So at least it is less. But yeah. So I do think it's nice for people. If you've never played Mario Galaxy 2, it's definitely a great time. Especially because you probably are not getting a 3D Mario game for at least a year, probably more. So that is nice. And we'll get into that later, by the way. All right, moving on from Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, we have... by the way, moving on from the game, before I get to the next game, I do want to touch on what I'm more excited for, which is that we are getting Mario Galaxy Amiibo figures, which is so hype. I need them in my life. A lot of the products they showed in this video, I need. It's those are the things that I need. So looking at the Amiibo again, I wanted to check this out again. So the 2 Amiibo that are releasing, they're coming out in April next year for some reason. I don't really know why. But so there's 2 Amiibos that are coming out. The first one is a Mario one, similar to his normal sprite in the game. It looks like it's on, I'm pretty sure it's Good Egg Galaxy. I'm pretty sure that's the level it is. I'm blanking right now. It's either Good Egg or Gateway. Actually, he's Gateway. I'm blanking right now. It's one of the first couple of galaxies in the game. I think it's actually the first world. I forget what it's called. It might be Gateway Galaxy, but I don't really remember. But yeah, so it is, just in general, it's Mario on that planet, but it's Mario launching from a launch star with a Luma as well, which is super cool. It looks amazing. And then the Rosalina one is Rosalina in her chair in the library reading the storybook to 2 Lumas. And yeah, so those are the Amiibo figures. I'm actually not sure how much these cost. They're probably 30 each. 40. Okay, they're 40. At least the Mario one is 40. I actually forgot to look at these, how much they were. I wish you could get both on sale. That'd be cool. Or like both of them for like 40 or 50. That'd be kind of cool. But of course not. Oh, there's also, I didn't even notice this. There's one for Metroid too with the bike. That's awesome. So yeah, so both Amiibo are going to be $40 and they come out in April. I don't really know why. I guess that's closer to when the movie comes out. But yeah, so we don't know what they do in game yet, but I definitely want at least one of them. Maybe I'll get the Rosalina one just because I have a couple Mario Amiibo, even though it's super cool. Rosalina one might be pretty cool because I don't have a Rosalina Amiibo. So that might be kind of neat. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then the thing I definitely want to buy is the Mario Galaxy storybook is getting a physical version, retailing for, I think it's just $20 for a physical version, and I need that in my life. That is definitely something I'm buying. I don't care how much that is. I am buying that. So yeah, so that comes out in I forget when that comes out. I feel like that comes out pretty soon. I think that comes out sooner. I think it's November. I think I looked it up. I think it's in like mid-November around Thanksgiving. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. All right, moving on from Mario Galaxy. Mario Bros. Wonder Switch 2 Edition. This is actually one that I think was predicted a lot. I didn't put it on my bingo board, but I was not surprised when it was announced. It was honestly, it made more sense than my prediction, which was Mario Maker 2 Switch 2 Edition with Mario Wonder as a new game style. But no, we are getting a Mario Bros. Wonder Switch 2 Edition, and surprising to me, which I did not expect this, it is going to be a Switch 2 Edition with an extra like thing in there. It's not just going to be it's not going to be like the Zelda ones that it's just $10 for upgrades visually and stuff like that and performance wise. It is actually going to have some new content as well. So the new content is called Meetup in Bellabelle Park. Pretty sure I'm saying that right. Probably should have looked that up. But yeah. Yeah, Meetup in Bellabelle Park is the name of the segment. And it essentially, what it looked like to me is a new world you can explore that has a bunch of different like multiplayer focused mini games. It looks like it's all multiplayer content, although I'm assuming you can probably play it online as well, which I think is cool. I think the online isn't, I don't know if I've really messed around with it, the online stuff, but it's definitely cool to have some unique multiplayer content. Of course, the game already has the multiplayer stuff that basically every Mario game has had with the 4-player co-op. in just playing levels together. But it will be cool to see some more unique content, a bunch of cool mini games and stuff. So that should be pretty cool. And of course, Mario Wonder is gonna get some visual touch-ups as well. I'm excited for this because it looks like it's gonna give me an excuse to go back to Mario Wonder. Game came out in October of 2023. I played it. I probably played it for 2 weeks. I 100%ed it pretty quickly. I was playing it a lot for those 2 weeks. And then I 100%ed it, and I really have not gone back to it since. I maybe have gone back, played it a little bit in the past like 2 years now, but really not that much, which kind of stinks because it's not a bad game. It's like really enjoyable. I just never had a reason to go back to it after 100%ing it. So hopefully this will give me a good reason to go back into it and check some new stuff out. All right, and then the last thing I put on here. Sorry, drink a sip of my Propel here. We got one more thing to talk about when it comes to the Mario. When it comes to the Mario segment that I want to mention, we did not get a new 2D Mario, a new 3D Mario. We did not get any of those. We were instead getting a new 2D Yoshi game in the form of Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. Looks very interesting. Looks very, very interesting. Kind of an interesting trailer. Kind of gave me the first look at it before we saw the actual gameplay. Gave me some serious like Princess Peach Showtime vibes in how it was like the focus on the character, just the way they designed the cutscene. It looked very similar to the Princess Peach Showtime, the early cutscenes we saw for that game. Looks interesting. There's like a book. It's this book. I forget what he calls himself, like Mr. E or something. It's kind of dumb, but each like Yoshi will have to dive in and like kind of like uncover the words or something, uncover what's written in the book, and discover these like creatures that are inside. So, but it's essentially a new 2D Yoshi platformer with a new aesthetic that's more now like a storybook compared to just craft and stuff like that. It is now heavy on like the aesthetic of like a storybook and stuff like that, and it looks really good. It gave me I mentioned this in my reaction. It looked a lot like the Winnie the Pooh movie is what I was kind of getting the vibe of, the one from like 2009 where it's kind of told through like a storybook. I was kind of getting the vibe there, but just the visual style looks interesting. But the game itself, there's some interesting things I took away from that. It looks a lot slower than you'd expect from like a 2D Mario game. It definitely looked a lot slower paced, and even the frame rate looked like just okay. Like it didn't look any like too special. Although it could have just been my video feed. It could have just been just the video, or just could have been, I don't know, either the video was struggling with performance, or the video itself, there were problems with the recording that was incorporated into the video. But either way, it looks like a fun. It does still look like a fun game. It just looks more slower paced, which I don't have a problem with, but it's definitely interesting. Although I didn't realize this at first, because I've never played a Yoshi game other than like a very little bit of Yoshi's Woolly World, which I really need to get back into. I need to play that again, because it's just one of those Wii U games that I got for Christmas, like when I was like, I don't know, 8 or something. Just one of those random Wii U games that I barely played. So I should play that. I should finish that. But yeah, I really haven't played any Yoshi games. I had no idea, because I saw those the creatures that are in the game that Yoshi's trying to get, and they're the Crazy Daisies that are from the first 2 Paper Mario games, which is what I noticed, of course. But I did not realize they're actually originally from Yoshi's Island on the SNES, the original Yoshi game. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't realize that Crazy Daisy started with Yoshi. Because they're of course in the original Paper Mario. They're in the Flower Fields, and then again in T2ID they are in Twilight Trail. So it was kind of interesting to see them again. It was kind of like, I feel like they look familiar. And then I was like, oh, I think they're from Paper Mario. Then it's like, oh, wait, they're not originally from Paper Mario. Like, it's not like they just pulled a random character from a Mario game and made it a character in this game. No, it is actually a Yoshi character. So it's interesting. But yeah, so Yoshi and the Mysterious Book comes out next spring. By the way, next spring is loaded. I mean, there is so much stuff coming out next spring. The Mario movie, the Mario Amiibo are coming out then. The Mario Bros. Wonder Switch 2 editions coming out next year. And as well, and Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, as well as a couple other things. From this list. So crazy how much stuff we are getting next year. So it's crazy. All right, moving on. So that was the Mario segment. I'll get more into what I thought of the whole segment in general later. But yeah, it's the Mario segment. So next up, so they talked about some Switch stuff. They had a first batch of headlines was all Nintendo Switch stuff, which is how I predicted it would be. Games looked fine. They were just random games. There weren't anything too special. But it did end on a high note with Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. Looks pretty fun. I've never played the original. I know very little about it, and it just looks like a fun time. And I think it's gonna be a pretty cool game. Honestly, for me though, and this is another thing I was saying while I was watching the direct, I really hope it's not $60. I think for me, because I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it or not, I don't really know. I feel like if it's $60, I'm not gonna get it. But if it's like $40, then I might consider it. Because I don't know, it's just like that kind of game. Like I don't think it's worth $60. But it's Nintendo. They overprice everything. We're gonna be talking about that in just a little bit. Actually, our next thing we're gonna be talking about that. So I really hope Tomodachi Life Living the Dream is not $60. I am actually curious. Tomodachi Life. I want to check out the original launch price of the first game, and see if that was cheaper. So Tomodachi Life originally launched on the 3DS at a retail price of $19.99. That is interesting because I think most games were, I think it was 40. Wait, hold on, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Game price, let's see. Yeah. No, that's not what I want. I'm not looking right now. I'm looking what they were at launch. Because now it's all over the place. $39.99. So pretty much about half price. Now, will this game be $30? I doubt it. Will it be $20? I doubt it. I could see 40 though. I think maybe 50 is a little much. I think 40 would work though. I think I would like 40. And even like Nintendo Switch Sports a couple years ago was $40. That was not the full price 60. So I think if that was $40, this could definitely be $40. But I don't know, because this one also has a lot of hype behind it, but that one did kind of too. So, although that one lacked a lot of content, so I don't know. It depends, but I really hope it's not $60. And if it is like 40, I might consider it. Yeah, so that's Tomodachi Life. Next up, this is one of the wildest things that was in this direct that literally made me go, like, I almost said, what the F? I'm not going to say it here, but I was like, WTF? What am I watching right now? Which is, of course, that Virtual Boy games are going to be added to the Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack library of retro games, which is the wildest thing Nintendo could have ever done. It's the most Nintendo thing ever, but it's wild. So Virtual Boy games are going to be coming, and it's like the weirdest way too, because it was like they announced like, okay, we're going to talk about some Switch Online stuff. Nintendo Today. Kirby stuff is going to be talked about. Now look at this, Virtual Boy. It's like, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, what in the world am I watching? And so wild that it's happening at all. 14 games will be available at launch, which is basically like more than half of the entire library of games, which is just insane. Yeah, it's one of those things that is like, what am I watching right now, and how is this real? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even seem real. It seemed fake. But yeah, so February 17th of 2026 is when it will be added on the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. And that's where I am not very happy. So first of all, I do pay for the Switch Online expansion pack. I do have it. But because here's the problem is not that it's being added to the problem is not just that it's being added to the expansion pack. The problem is that is also the accessories. So the Virtual Boy was, of course, like a VR headset, a really weird whatever. And Nintendo is staying true to that with this thing. So to play the Virtual Boy games on the Switch 2, you have to own the special accessory for it. Now, I will say that you probably, like I have just some random third-party Switch, what is it? I'm blanking right now. I do own like a random Switch VR headset, like a third-party one. So I can probably use that. Like, I don't think it would, give me a restriction. But I just think it's like weird that you need that. At least I will say it is nice that it's going to be on the Switch and Switch 2. Pretty sure that's the case. But it just, the problem I have with it is that, just having to pay for an extra device, as well as having to pay extra for Switch Online just to have access to those games, I think is gross. And by the way, if you're wondering, if you haven't checked, the normal one, the Virtual Boy accessory that's coming out is $100 freaking dollars, which is bananas, and it makes no sense to me at all. Because it's literally plastic. Like, it's not even like a device. It's not even like, it's literally more expensive than the Pro controller, which already is, I think, a little overpriced at $85. But even so, like, it's a VR headset that is literally just a headset. Like, it's not even like, I don't get it. It's like, what makes it so expensive? It's the novelty that makes it so expensive. It can be worth $50 and Nintendo will still make profit. But no, have to price it all the way up to $100. Like seriously, like, it's not even a device. It's literally just plastic that you put the Switch into to play games. It's not like it is its own device. It's stupid. I hate that. But then the fact that you also have to pay extra for Switch Online expansion pack is gross. I hate that. I hate that so much. The only reason I pay for the expansion pack is, I hate the expansion pack, first of all. I don't like it. But I do want to play GameCube games and stuff. I do want access to that. So while it is stupidly overpriced, even still, like, after 4 years since it was announced, it's still super overpriced. But at least now, but it, I don't know what I was going to say, at least, because I'm not at least anything. It's just like, I wish that the device being 100, I do wish it was on just normal NSO. I think that making people pay for not only the VR headset, but also, 30 extra bucks for NSO expansion pack, I think really stinks. Especially since it's like, you're paying for like crap games, you know what I mean? They're not even like interesting games. And by that, I mean like not worth buying a $100 device. Now, like I said, I think if you have any device like a Switch 2 device, you can use that. And Nintendo is also offering one that's like a weird cardboard one. I think that's only like $25, which is nice. I think the Virtual Boy thing is one of those things that like I want, but I'm not gonna get. It's way too expensive. So yeah, that comes out in February. That is a craziest announcement I think from the Direct, if you ask me. Crazy. All right, then we had Metroid Prime 4, of course. I kind of just mentioned that with that amiibo I saw. But yeah, Metroid Prime 4 finally has a release date. It is coming out on December 4th of this year. I did think it was going to get delayed, and I still think it's crazy that it's being released so close to Kirby. I think, honestly, for Nintendo, I feel like they didn't want it to come out that soon. I really don't. I just think it's almost like they were bullied. Like Kirby Air Riders comes out November 20th. Metroid literally comes out 2 weeks later. That is 2 massive games coming out within 2 weeks of each other, which is nuts. And it's just it's wild that they're putting those games so close together. Like, I mean, yes, Nintendo doesn't usually space out release dates that much, but 2 weeks is something else. For those 2 massive games, it's crazy. And I feel like Nintendo didn't want to do that. Because like I just feel like Nintendo really wanted to delay it until 2026, but then of course there would have been so much backlash, like, oh my god, it's been delayed again, it's coming out, oh my god, like what the heck. And like even if they said it's coming out in January, people would have freaked out because you said 2025, and now you're saying 2026. Like, yeah, it's nuts. It's super crazy. So, but yeah, Metroid Prime 4 looks cool. Another Nintendo game where they're putting one of their most beloved IPs on a bike. I mean, like seriously, they did it with Mario. They put him on the motorbike in Mario Odyssey. You can ride one. The DLC for Metroid or for Zelda Breath of the Wild had a motorcycle, the Master Cycle, and then now Metroid Prime 4. So yeah, it's gonna be definitely a funny thing, definitely an interesting thing. But yeah, so Metroid Prime 4 though, it is coming out in December. I'm still deciding right now on which game I want. I don't know if I'm gonna get Kirby or because I've already made the decision. I am for myself. I am buying one of the 2, and then I'm gonna ask the other one for Christmas. That's what I've already come up with. I am either buying Kirby or I'm buying Metroid. Either way, I'm gonna get both games, hopefully. But yeah, I expect I'll probably get that game, but it just depends on which one I want to play on launch day. So yeah, we'll see. I do want to dive back into Metroid Prime though. I think that'd be cool. And I do wish that they were at least releasing the second game on Switch. I think that'd be kind of cool, but they're not doing that. I was kind of surprised about that. But yeah. So Metroid Prime 4 is finally coming out in December. That was the big thing. And yeah, still looks pretty cool. Still looks really cool. I love the trailer though. It's so funny with the trailer that it was like, wait a minute, is this Metroid Prime 4 or is this like a new game? But no, it is Metroid Prime 4. Resident Evil Requiem. I'm pretty sure. I actually forgot to look this up too. I'm looking up so much stuff here. I'm pretty sure that was like literally just announced. When was it announced? It was announced. Oh, it was announced this year. Okay. It was announced at Summer Game Fest. So. Oh no. Okay. So it was announced that it was coming to a couple platforms on June 6th, and then it was announced during the Direct that it would be coming to the Switch 2 as well, and it's all launching on the same day, which is definitely pretty cool. it looks pretty cool. It was so funny watching that trailer because I knew it was Resident Evil, but I completely forgot the name Resident Evil for some reason. I was like, what is it? I am just blanking on the name right now so hard. And then it said Resident Evil. I was like, oh my god, that's what it is. But yeah, so Resident Evil Requiem. It does look like a pretty cool game. It's coming out February 17th. That's actually the same day the Virtual Boy stuff comes out, so that's nice. Pretty sure it's like the 17th. I just looked it up. I'm pretty sure it was the 17th. But yeah, pretty cool. And also, by the way, speaking of that, the 3-7 games, if you didn't watch the Nintendo Direct and are curious, Switch Force leaked, well, they didn't leak, but they started speculation. They said that 3 games would be, with a 7 in the title, would be shown in the Direct. So it was Resident Evil 7 and 8 are coming to Switch. I think those are coming the same day too. Those 2 games and the new one are all coming on the same day this February. So, which is wild. Three games from one series in one day. It's crazy. So Resident Evil 7, and then Dragon Quest, like Dragon Quest 7 remake, something like that, and then Final Fantasy 7. That's what it was. So it was Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and Resident Evil. Those were the 3 games with the 7 in the title. So that's what it was. It was not Mario Kart 7 HD. But yeah. So yeah, pretty cool there. And then of course the ending. By the way, this is like the greatest reaction I think I've ever had to anything ever. I don't even know how I knew so fast. I just knew as soon as it looked weird and it didn't look like something I knew, I was like, it's going to be something dumb. And then it showed that like inside the Coliseum and just the visual style, I was like, it's Fire Emblem. It's Fire Emblem. So I want to talk about this too, because I know this is probably an interesting topic. I am not a Fire Emblem fan. I'm not a fan of games like that, like RPGs like that. And of course, just those kind of games in general. Those are not the games I play normally. So yeah, Fire Emblem, I was not, so I'm not a fan of Fire Emblem, but the problem is not that it was Fire Emblem. It was just that I don't know why it closed it off. It made no sense to me. And this is kind of where we're going to get into, moving on from the, announcement segment and diving more into the flaws I had with the Direct overall, which is that and I said this on Twitter too, one of the most hyped up Directs in the last like many years, one of the most anticipated, probably really one of the most anticipated video game presentations of the decade, ended on Fire Emblem, which is listen, Nintendo makes some interesting decisions on all fronts, but that was just crazy. You know what I mean? That was like more than usual, which is not hard to do because they make some crazy decisions, and that was like over the top crazy. So I know that for the Fire Emblem fans, like, yes, there are Fire Emblem fans. Like, it's not like everyone hates these games. But it's just like, why would you end with that? You know what I mean? Like, it either means that they just ended with that for some reason, or they just don't have a lot of big games coming out. It's not like, everyone was saying, like, we could get a new Animal Crossing game, or maybe a new Smash game, new 3D Mario, but no, we got Fire Emblem. And I don't know. And it's like, for me, like, Mario has always been my main big franchise, but I was not like clamoring for a 3D Mario to be shown. Honestly, going into that announcement when they panned to the trailer, I wasn't expecting to see Mario. I really wasn't. Like, I was thinking in my head, like, it's possible, but I wasn't like really expecting it. I definitely was not expecting Fire Emblem. And honestly, for me, the big problem I had with this presentation is that I think, in my opinion, I said at the beginning of this segment that I was very surprised that they started with Mario, and then this, and then and well, yeah, I was very surprised that they started with the Mario segment because myself and I think basically everyone else thought they were going to end with it. And honestly, I think they should have ended with Mario. I think the problem with the presentation is that the Mario segment felt so different and so separated from the rest of the Direct that it basically was the first 15 minutes were exciting, super hype, such great stuff there, and then it was just bland. You know what I mean? Like, of the stuff I showed, like basically everything after the Mario segment, the big stuff was a little bit more information on Tomodachi Life, the weird Virtual Boy for NSO, which I already talked about, a release date for Metroid Prime 4, and the new Resident Evil game, and then of course Fire Emblem. That is like, it's just crazy. Like the first 15 minutes and the whole Mario segment in general was fantastic. And I'm not just saying that on a level of like just, it was a great Mario segment, or it was just a great Mario, just like for a Mario fan, it was great. There's just so much stuff to appreciate there. Like one of the games I didn't mention from this was the new Mario Tennis game, Mario Tennis Fever. I didn't mention it because I don't usually play Mario Tennis games. I don't really care too much for it. And I didn't want to mention everything because I didn't want to talk way too long. But I think for me, like, I didn't really care about it. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, we're getting a new Mario Tennis game. Cool. And yet, what was great about it is that the pacing was fantastic. It was right on point. They didn't talk about it for too long. But they still were able to give a lot of information to make it sound interesting. It looks like a fun game. It looks like it has some cool stuff, but they didn't go on and on forever. I remember watching going back watching the March 2018 Direct, which had a segment on Mario Tennis Aces. That segment definitely felt like it was dragging on. It really did. The pacing was a little off, and it did feel like they went on and on. So for anyone who isn't a huge fan, it was just, it just felt like it was going on and on. But for me, with Mario Tennis Fever, I didn't really care for it. But thankfully, they really did not talk about it for way too long. But they talked about it for an amount of time where the people who were excited for it could get a sense of what the game would be like, what it would include, and yeah. So yeah, I think the first 15 minutes of this Direct were fantastic, and then it's basically they just didn't use any of that for the rest of it. Tomodachi Life, I don't really think it went on for too long, but it did a little bit. And then later, Pokemon went on and on and on. It was like, oh my god! They showed that new game that's like the Animal Crossing style, like the Pokopia, I think it was. And then they just talked about even more on Pokemon Legends Z3, which I didn't even think they'd mention at all. And that just went on and on, and it just never ended. And then the same thing with Fire Emblem. Like, it just went on, and it's like, just end. I even said during the Direct, I was like, just get me out of my misery. It's just because they just went on, and it's like, you're just, anyone who doesn't care as much about these, like, it's just boring. You know what I mean? Which they were able to avoid at the beginning of the Direct. I'm a Mario fan, but Mario Tennis is not really something I care about. Especially since, to me, this game seemed very similar to Mario Tennis Aces. But they did a good job not talking about it forever. They did a nice job of controlling the pace on that, and I really appreciate that. And that's kind of where I just think that, just in general, I think they should have ended with Mario, because I think that was what everyone wanted to see. So I think if you had the whole Direct before that, built people's excitement to it, then when they see Fire Emblem, they don't think, oh, that's it. You know what I mean? They think, that I was cool. We got some cool announcements, but now we have even more coming with all this Mario content. And of course, the biggest announcements of this Direct were all in that segment, and they were all at the beginning. So I really do think that they should have ended with Mario. I think there's a couple ways you can look at it, where it's I mean, sure. I mean, I think you could make the argument like people who don't care about Mario, then they're just not going to watch it. You know what I mean? If you put it at the beginning, then they will be forced to watch it because they want to see what comes after. If if the Mario segment is what ends the direct, then there's no reason for them to watch once it starts. You know what I mean? But honestly, for me, I think I would say that 90% of the fans are not like that. 90% of the people watching the direct are not like that. Mario's just so well known. I think for certain franchises it would be different. I think Zelda might be okay, but I think something like Metroid, if they had a whole segment of that, I think that's a little bit different. But Mario it's Mario. You know what I mean? Like everyone loves Mario. So, but yeah. So the fact that they didn't end with Mario is baffling to me. Like it just, I don't know why they didn't. And and honestly, I think I would have left the direct happier. Not just because that's how the direct ended, with all the big announcements, but it just wouldn't have. It would have softened the blow almost. That other than Mario, there wasn't a lot of huge stuff. So yeah. So that is the yeah. So that's that. I already kind of talked about Virtual Boy. I actually kind of already talked about this stuff, but then the other big announcement too. Next is, I mentioned with the Mario stuff, like everything's coming out next spring. And as well as I'm pretty sure that Mario Tennis game is also coming out next spring. There's nothing past the summer, which was kind of surprising. Like everything is coming out next spring, and I thought that was shocking. They showed a lot. There's of course a lot of stuff coming at the within the next, the rest of this year. Then a lot of Mario stuff's coming next year as well, some other things. But it's like it really felt like there wasn't really much after April. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like that was kind of interesting. But I don't know. We'll see. That's how it is. I think that's it. Some of the stuff I put here with my flaws on it, I kind of already touched on when I was talking about the games themselves. So that was my thought. So my thoughts on the direct overall. I thought it disappointed me. It definitely disappointed me. But it did have, of course, some great stuff. Honestly, what I think they should have done if they didn't want to move the Mario segment to the end, honestly, it could have just been its own thing. I think they could have certainly had like this direct, I don't know, earlier this week or last week, and then had the Mario direct or on Friday, as just that 15-20 minute thing. I think they could have done it and maybe even should have. So, but of course, I'm not surprised that the problem was not that it was in the video, because of course, if you just put it separately, then, people who don't care for Mario as much are still going to see the Mario stuff if it's in the direct. But if it's separate, then they won't. But at the same time, the Mario segment just felt like it was such a completely different presentation, and then the shift to the normal direct was just... It almost felt like, to me, like if you're in school and you go from like a class you love with a bunch of your friends and a cool teacher to the next class being so boring teacher, no friends, you can't talk, whatever, just crap. You know what I mean? That's kind of what the direct felt like, honestly, to me. So I don't think it was bad. I do think there was some cool stuff. The Mario segment was great, and then of course it was great to get some of those release dates. The Hyrule Warriors also got a release date. And then of course Metro Prime 4. I honestly forgot about Hyrule Warriors, but yeah, we got the release date for that. Some cool new amiibo were shown. The Kirby amiibos look pretty cool, where it's like they're detachable characters. I think it's pretty cool, and the way that even translates into their use is really neat. But yeah, I just feel like in general, a lot of stuff, especially with how much some stuff is going to cost. It's yeah. So I think the direct was like, I'd probably put it at B or C tier. I think overall I'd probably put it at C. But yeah, I think there's ways they could have structured it better and to make it better. By the way, one more thing I forgot to talk about before we get into the Mario movie stuff. One thing I forgot to mention, something that's coming out, the incredible Talking Flower Uh, so funny that that's coming out too. There's so many Mario products coming out. Actually, I want to check real quick. I don't know if that is like actually. I'm curious. Can you like do? Is there a price for that yet? Let me actually hold on. I'm gonna go to my Nintendo thing. So, by the way, while I'm looking at this, I'll kind of talk about. So, so that's our video game segment. I wanted to start with that because I think that'll do a good job. Now, we can get into our our movie segment, and I'm just gonna talk more. I'm gonna talk about the Mario movie specifically. So nothing's coming up. Let me just search Talking Flower cost. Let's see. Oh, Talking Flower. How much? How much? Okay, nothing's coming up, so apparently people don't know yet. I don't know when it actually comes out though. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. So let's talk about the Mario movie. So I'm not going to be talking about this for too long, and unfortunately for the sports fans, I will not be getting into sports today. I talked about this for way longer than I thought I would. But so let's dive into some Mario movie stuff. So let's start with a retrospective. Mario movie came out in 2023, and it was an experience. That was just like one of the wildest like things ever for me. Seeing Mario realized on the big screen so well. And one of the things though, I won't talk too much about the movie, but or about the original movie. But one of the things I loved about the movie is just, and I kind of talk about this in my Minecraft movie review, is that the Mario movie was just so like, it almost was like appreciative of itself. Like it didn't want to make fun of itself or anything. Something that like most other movies, like adaptations, like the Minecraft movie, were less like in more ways. Minecraft movie and other movies like it, they like to make fun of themselves. They like to make fun of like the silly parts of them. It's like why is this a thing? Blah 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 blah. Like this is weird. But then the Mario movie it made everything weird seem like it made sense. You know what I mean? And I think that was because when you really think about it, the Mario universe is so weird, where it's Italian plumber saving a princess from a giant turtle that breathes fire. You know what I mean? It makes no sense at all, and yet it just like they don't make fun of it. You know what I mean? It just sounds like it makes sense. It's all realized so well, and so yeah, that's something I really loved about the first movie, and but I think in terms of the story, I think when you look at the movie and people still ask me all the time, it's like, is the Mario movie a good movie? I think when it comes to being a Mario movie, it's amazing. It, like I said, it realizes the Mario world so well, incorporates so much classic music with some beautiful new remixes, such an incredible score, and it is a really fun movie. It throws a lot of cool stuff in there to pay tribute to the past, and it really does a nice job of suiting for longtime Mario fans and the hardcore fans, people, who are older, who grew up with Mario, and to give them that nostalgia. And then, of course, maybe the kids and parents that aren't as familiar with Mario, or just the people in general that aren't as familiar. It's still made for a pretty fun kids movie with some neat stuff. So, but I think in terms of a movie itself, I mean, there's definitely problems with it when it comes to its story. It's not really anything way too special when it comes to its story. I think it definitely has some cool stuff, but I think there's a lot of stuff you can nitpick about it. So going into the Mario movie 2, coming out next April, or I guess this upcoming April 2026, the second Mario movie that we now know is going to be probably mostly themed to Super Mario Galaxy. So I think when it comes to Mario Galaxy, what Mario Galaxy does is it's not really nostalgia, honestly. I don't think that's what that game, I mean, it does. But I think what it gives is just powerful, beautiful vibe almost. You know what I mean? When you listen to the music from that game, it just, you are taken to another world. You know what I mean? And you just, you feel like, like it's, this amazing world from the game. This whole huge space atmosphere. It just, it's incredible. You know what I mean? How much the music alone is able to do that. But it's not just the music itself, how good it is. It's just how great the game is, how great it is. And like I said, it's not just like it's nostalgia. It's just how the game makes you feel. It's just such an incredible thing. And then the music really realizes that in a great way. So I think incorporating that into the movie heavily is going to be interesting. I really hope the movie does have that too. I really hope it's not just something silly that mixes that together. But I don't think it really will be. I think it will have some cool, some of that in there. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't really know. But yeah, I hope it has a little bit more of a story, and I think it would be pretty cool. I think there's some interesting directions they could go with it. But yeah, I just think it's just wild that they're doing this. Not only is it wild that they're doing this, it's wild that they're doing it in movie 2. I think a lot of people are talking about that, where it's like this second Mario movie, they're going to space. They're already doing Mario Galaxy. And I think it's an interesting choice, and I am very curious to see how they go about that and what they do with that. Is Bowser going to be the villain? I said my prediction originally. What I thought they should do with the new movie is that they should have a new villain come up. My whole concept for the second Mario movie was that a new villain, either one that's more obscure or just like a brand new villain that's not even been in any of the games. It's something brand new for just the movie. This new villain wants to beat Mario for some reason, wants to take him over, and decides to create these clones of Mario and Luigi that are the bad versions of them in order to beat them. So basically, the way he's gonna beat them is by having them beat themselves. Which of course would be Wario and Waluigi, and that would lead to Mario having to team up with Bowser, who is now of course captured in Peach's castle, and they would have to team up and be that whole thing. That is what I was always guessing and kind of hoping for the new movie. I think that would have been a pretty cool idea. And but no, they're not even like, they're just hopping around. I mean, it could of course be very similar. Like, I don't know if they're. I really hope they don't just have Bowser breaks out. Like, I know that Bowser is the villain of the two games. It's not like those games have a different villain. But I do hope it's not just Bowser breaks out and then is the villain again. I do hope they go a more interesting and unique direction with that. I don't really know how, but I do hope it's something. I really do hope it's something unique. I don't just want them to say, "Hey, Bowser broke out," and now he's like, "Oh, I'm going to take over space now," and now Mario has to team up with Rosalina in order to stop it. I really hope they don't do that. Unfortunately, though, I do think that is how it's going to be. I just think I don't know. I really don't want them to, but I feel like it is just going to be Bowser broke out and now he wants to, I don't know, take over space for some reason. So what does Mario do? He goes to space himself to stop him, and he runs into Rosalina, and then they defeat him. It is, I don't want that story. I want something more interesting, and because I just want them to, like, it's something that people have mentioned before with Nintendo, that Nintendo is a company that's always been about surprise, where they typically, the stuff that they announce, the stuff that they make is not what you'd expect it to be, especially with their consoles. They are not, they don't just make powerful consoles like their competitors do. They make consoles with unique things, like the GameCube, or the Wii's not just a more powerful GameCube. It's a, it's like a Wii is a Wii, you know what I mean? Motion controls, really interesting, intuitive controls there. And that's what makes it special. And I think that's how kind of a lot of Nintendo things are, where the successor or the next thing is just what no one could see coming. And I really hope that's what they do with the movie. I know it's Universal, and I know Nintendo, I don't know how much say they have in like the actual story of it and like the movie stuff really. But I do hope that the movie is kind of like that too, where it's not just what you expect. Because I think just having like what I mentioned with Bowser breaking out, taking over space, and Mario teams up with Rosalina, it's just what you expect. You know what I mean? When you think of what they would do, it's just like that's what they might do. But I really hope they do come up with a story that does a nice job of incorporating the world of Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 into the Mario movie universe, and surprises people and says, "Hey, this isn't what you expect. Let's show you what we are instead going to do. Show you that we're going to give you that something that no one could see coming." So, just first of all, Mario Galaxy as the second movie is something no one could see coming. Really, I don't think anyone was predicting Mario Galaxy being the big theme for the second movie before that leak. So, yeah, pretty crazy. And, yeah, so yeah, Mario Galaxy movie is coming out in April next year. So it's gonna be crazy. By the way, something that's even crazier, the Mario Galaxy movie is coming out like 2 weeks. I don't know when it's coming out in April, but the Sonic 4 movie, Sonic 4, is coming out in I think it's I think it's March. I think it's like March 27th, I believe. Which just that is crazy because I feel like we just got Sonic 3. But yeah, so Sonic 4, I'm pretty sure is coming next year as well. I'm pretty sure. Might be, hold on. No, not Sonic 3. Sonic 4 is coming out. Oh, it is 2027. Okay, I was wrong. Never mind. Okay, so that's coming out the next year. For some reason, I think I saw on Twitter somewhere, so maybe someone else got that wrong. I don't know. Because I was just thinking about it now. That would be way too soon. Okay, so never mind that. Forgot I said that. But yeah, so Mario Movie 2 is coming out next April. And yeah, first of all, I don't know how they do that. I mean, just 3 years, I feel like, to make an animated movie, one that looks basically as good as this one does is nuts. So, but yeah, that's kind of it. That is kind of it. Yeah, covered a lot in this episode, and yeah, we covered a lot. I am curious what all of you wonderful listeners, what did you think of the Direct? If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to give me a reply with your thoughts on the Direct. Like I said, the Direct, I don't think it was bad. It was definitely disappointing, but I think part of that was just the hype of it. I think when you look at like the September 2022 Direct, and this one, like which one is worse, it is hard to say because this one had far more hype going into it than the September 2022 one. So that one wasn't as disappointing. That one just lacked in a lot of announcements, and the pace of it was just really off. So yeah, and I think just what you expect from this one, like it just did not give nearly as much or as big of announcements as you would expect from it being the first one in a brand new console life cycle. So, but yeah, so yeah, let me know what you guys thought, because I am curious what you guys thought. I think I mean really, I think like if you are a person who is a fan of like Pokemon and Fire Emblem, if that's your kind of thing, you probably love this direct. I think most people probably love Mario and are excited for at least one of the things mentioned in the Mario segment. So yeah, I think it's just crazy. I think I will say, comparing the Mario segment to the Mario Direct. So the Mario Direct had from the 35th anniversary 5 years ago. The Mario Direct had the Game & Watch, 3D World plus Bowser's Fury was announced, Mario 35, and then some other random products. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, and then the 3D All Stars collection. Sorry about that. So it had those 5 things, and then this one had the Mario Galaxy movie, the Galaxy 1 and 2 combo pack, Mario Bros. Wonder Switch 2 edition, the new Yoshi game, and then the Mario Tennis game. So 5 on each. So yeah, I think on a few levels. I mean, this one had. I mean, the Mario Galaxy is crazy. And then there was some pretty cool stuff outside of that. I do think that one, I don't know if I'm going to say it was better. I don't really know. But I think they're pretty close in scale. But the fact that we got that as well as a bunch of other announcements in a full-scale direct was insane. By the way, I don't know if anyone else felt like this. The 60 minutes did fly by, I think. It did kind of feel like it flew by. Like it felt like it was like nearing the end of the direct pretty quickly once it got started. I think the Mario segment flew by, and then it was everything after that was. I mean, it wasn't a lot of interesting stuff, but I think, at least for me, something interesting came up. At the right time almost, that it did feel like I was getting something periodically that I was interested in, and that ultimately made the direct feel pretty quick. So even though it was 20 minutes extra compared to most directs, it was actually, it did feel shorter. And whether or not this will be the norm, whether or not 60 minutes will be the norm, I don't think so. I think the Switch 2 Direct was, of course, 60 minutes because they had a lot of stuff they wanted to show there. And, of course, they were talking about the console itself, too. And then, okay, I'm losing my voice. Oh, my God. Why am I losing my voice so fast? Anyway. So that one had a lot of stuff. This one felt like a normal Direct that just also had a Mario Direct mixed with it. And for that, I don't think that 60 minutes will be the norm, unless we do have a direct in the future that really does have a lot of big announcements. But I expect 40, 50 to be the norm. So yeah, okay, so I'm losing my voice, so I think I'm good. But yeah, thank you all for listening to me rant on and on and on about this Nintendo Direct. And again, let me know your thoughts in the future. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. Like I said, new episodes will now be coming out on Mondays, not Tuesdays anymore. So the next episode will be coming, I guess that's the 22nd in September. So September 22nd is when we will drop episode 9. So until then, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And yeah, bye.